Welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. I'm your host, Hamza Idris. Compliments of the season, it is New year of election in Nigeria. In this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy, and governance. And today, we will focus on matters arising from former President Olusegun Obasanjo's endorsement of Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi. And later in the program, we will look at the impact of the current insecurity in the Southeast on the coming elections. Welcome back. Madam Nana, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
Yes, you people are starting the New Year on a big note, right?
Very big note.
Well, yesterday, President Obasanjo fired the big salvo. But before we go to that, I want to have your take on the claim by PDP that 11 governors are actually working for their candidate, Atiku Abubakar. Do you really trust them, what they say?
Every time I have the opportunity, I always say I don't speak for these parties. They're one and the same. You know,
that is the PDP and the APC.
PD, APC. You know, so
What do you mean by PD, APC?
You know exactly what I mean by that. They are both. You know, they're from the same.
Okay.
Do you understand? They're all from the same, exactly, from the same root. And so I just, you know, don't pay them much heed. But, you know, if they say there are people working on the ground to help them, you see, that's the difference between us and them. We're not doing our things underground. The obedience are there. You can see us. You can identify us, you know. And yes, there are some people who would prefer not to be named or called, but it doesn't mean that they're being cowardly about what they're doing. Why are they working secretly and underground? If they believe in something, come out and defend it. Okay. That's just my opinion.
Because last week, before the end of the year, there was this claim that, you know, Tinubu also met with Wike, Otto, you know, Makinde, and all that. And later, Tinubu said he did not. They're just playing.
They're just playing with, and you know, my party, my principle, what we want to do is just remain focused. I think these are too many distractions. People, when you say the PDP, they've talked about how they're uniting, but even amongst themselves, these issues still remain, and it's glaring for everybody to see. So.
Okay, well, the other issue, you know, Serap, I know they are actually obsessed with going to courts all the time. Now, on Friday, you know, maybe it's the last year gift for the South governors that they drag them to court to account for the monies released to them by President Muhammadu Buhari. Do you think it's a worthwhile voyage by Serap to drag these governors?
Every time we ask for accountability, it is a worthwhile voyage, because that's what Nigerians are asking for, and that is why you can see my presidential candidate, His Excellency Peter Obi, is very, very viable, because he himself will say to you, go and verify. He himself will say to you, and if I don't do this right, or if I had promised a certain thing, hold me accountable. So it is very, very important, and it's good to see, it's actually refreshing to see that Serap is saying, be accountable. That's what the whole Obidati movement is about, accountability.
And I think even political parties should engage in that, maybe asking for accountability, because it's what is actually transparently lacking in the
what's
system.
Going on right now in the Nigerian political space is people are beginning to ask questions. People are wanting more answers. People are wanting to hold people accountable for everything that they've done. So this, as far as I'm concerned, is very refreshing to see.
But as far as we are concerned in the media, the beginning of elections campaigns in 2022 was actually dominated by insults, name calling, name dropping, and all that. Do you think this will continue, or maybe the narration will change? This is 2023. We have less than, 60 days to go to the polls.
I noticed something. I noticed a decline in people calling, you know, the name calling, and even people from a certain political cadre calling names. I've noticed a huge decline ever since our vice presidential candidate, Senator Yusuf Datti Baba Ahmed, actually held a press briefing where he had to challenge these and said, you know, when you're doing this, you're going against the peace accord that everybody signed. So, and there's something that President Olusegun Obasanjo said that just made me really happy. He said something to the Nigerian youth. It was more like an advice, if you call it, very advisory, and it just capped up the whole summation of his document to endorse His Excellency Peter Obi. He said he's asking Nigerian youths to please stop taking on people's enemies and taking on certain prejudices. So it's almost as if what he was saying, from my understanding, you just go and inherit, you understand? You probably have never met that bad Igbo man. You probably have never met a terrible Yoruba man, a terrible Tiv man, a terrible Ibibio person, a terrible Hausa Fulani man. But because of other people's prejudices, because of other people's
propensity
enmity,
for name dropping,
propensity to just, you know, say things that really are not true, you see that children or people from a certain have go ahead and inherit those things. So it's best for us now, because there's something we say in the Labour Party: it's time to stop the bleeding and start the healing. In fact, I think I'm quoting our vice presidential candidate there. The bleeding should stop, and it's time for Nigerians to start healing. So we need to heal. We need to understand that we are first Nigerians, so that this country can actually move forward and be progressive. Nigeria has so much potential.
Well, that's why we brought you to the studio today. Actually, yesterday was the first day of the year, right? And the man you mentioned, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, fired a salvo at one, you know, his first mentee, if I get it right, because Atiku was his vice presidential, person when he ran as president of Nigeria in 1999 to 2007, and his tribesman, Tinubu. He said Nigerians should not vote for them. If anything, he endorsed your candidate. And that is why we brought you to the studio to tell us why, or how do you felt when you heard that Obasanjo endorsed your candidate? It's
exactly the same way that I feel. Every time I'm speaking to a group of people, I say something to them. I say, I stand with a man like Peter Obi, because even if he was from Venezuela or Ethiopia and Nigeria gave him a presidential ticket to run, I would vote that person.
Why?
So the man, Peter Obi, even the document, have you read His Excellency, the former president's, have you read it? There's something that's called the TVPC. He gave reasons, so it's not out of sentiment. He gave reasons why he chose a man like Peter Obi.
What is the difference? Is there any difference? Because this is what many Nigerians are asking.
Listen, there's a lot of difference.
Like how?
For example, there's no way that you would look at a well-meaning Nigerian, somebody who loves Nigerians, and you will go for a tax collector over a man that is pro-investment.
Who is a tax collector? Nana.
And then somebody who has been accused of, has allegations against him for corruption, even when he was vice presidential candidate.
If you are referring to Atiku, he went to court and he has not been convicted.
Well, you know, but then again, in Nigeria, we know that there's no smoke without fire. Then you look at a man like Peter Obi and his track record. You interrupted me when I was trying to tell you the TVCPs. We have his track record. We have his vision for the country. We have his character. And then we also now have the TVPC. We now have mixed it up. We now have his
anyway, his credentials.
No, I have to.
What is it? Tell me, open. Because
his physical attributes.
So
now when we look at physical attributes and we look at track record, I enjoin Nigerians ever since campaign started. Can we now even decide to collate Peter Obi's track record from how he has traveled within and outside the country? That shows a man who has vision. All of them are traveling. They have traveled, and the allegations. It's incomparable.
The allegations, Nana. The allegations Obasanjo is howling at Tinubu and Atiku. People are also hurling same at your candidate because they say he chased away people from the north when he was governor.
We know that it's not true. Please, that's not true. And we cannot begin to rely on hearsay. You understand? That's not true. He didn't chase out people. That's just the narrative that was put out there to discredit him. Why would he do that? Why?
And Obasanjo said none of them is a saint, actually. But he prefers Peter Obi.
That is because Peter Obi at his worst is still 10,000 times better than any of the other two candidates that you have mentioned.
Okay, Nana, do you think...
and he even said it in his document that, they didn't always get it right.
Yeah.
You see, so that shows you somebody who is saying to the Nigerians, you know what, we are sorry for however we handle things, but right now, there is somebody in the forefront who's the better candidate, who's the better person who has a vision for this country, who has shown, and I will still go back to his track record, that he's somebody that does what he's going to, that says what he's going to do.
We are joined virtually by Dr. Suleiman Dambata, the factional deputy governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Kano State. Welcome to the program, Doctor.
Thank you very much. But I'm not a factional deputy governor. I'm the deputy gubernatorial candidate that the so-called judgment of last week set us aside.
All right, good. I will address you as deputy gubernatorial candidate that was actually sacked alongside your candidate, Sadiq Wali, right?
Yes.
Good. Anyway, compliments of the season, Doctor.
Thank you very much, and compliment of the season to the media, trust, and all Nigerians.
Thank you. Viewers, we will go on a quick break now, and when we come back, the conversation commences. Don't go away. Welcome back. Doctor, I will start by seeking for your opinion on the letter written by former President Obasanjo to Nigerians that they should vote for Peter Obi of the Labour Party. Are you really disappointed that he did not endorse the candidate of your party, the PDP, or any other candidate but Peter Obi?
Actually, I want to start by congratulating all Nigerians for a very prosperous new year, 2023. The year that all Nigerians are going into the general election. And actually, I did not time to go through Obasanjo's to President Muhammadu Buhari, in which, as you have already said, he endorsed the candidature of Peter Obi. Well, you see, as Nigerians, everybody has his own opinion and the right to put anything into paper. So when our former leader, President Obasanjo, wrote and endorsed Peter Obi, I'm not going to be surprised because he has his own opinion and he can say whatever he wants to say as an elder statement. But be as it may, the truth of the matter is there is no other person, as far as this election is concerned, better than Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, taking into cognizance his experience and also his wherewithal in terms of how he can come together and put Nigeria as one, especially bearing in mind the current situation where a lot of division, a lot of opinion, counter opinion among Nigerians. Atiku Abubakar has seen it all. He's been there as vice president. He's been into the race not only once, twice. He has seen almost everything as far as the Nigerian political environment is concerned. So all the other candidates among other political platforms are mere only candidates seeking election into presidency for the first time. But Atiku is not a newcomer into this race. So that's why I said he has more experience and he has more backup experience and exposure as far as ruling Nigeria is concerned. So I clearly said that what Obasanjo said, he said it in his own opinion, in his own language. So Nigerians will not be able to understand Obasanjo's language because, everyone of us has his own language. You can say whatever you want to say. The Constitution gave you the right to say your own opinion. Okay. So I don't blame Obasanjo for saying that. Rather, I respect his opinion as far as an individual and elder statesman.
Okay, Doctor, but the opinion of these elder statesmen, I'm not actually referring to Obasanjo alone. It tends to sway the opinion of the general public. For instance, in 2015, Obasanjo actually took former President Jonathan to cleaners, and many thought that gave candidate Muhammadu Buhari an edge during that election. Don't you think history will repeat itself this time around?
I think history will not repeat itself because 2015 is not 2023. The permutations and circumstances that brought Muhammadu Buhari in 2015 is entirely different from what is going to bring Alhaji Atiku Abubakar by the will of God in 2023. 2015, there was a lot of issues that were very unfavorable to President Goodluck Jonathan at that time. Yeah. You can look at that scenario of insecurity at that time, the height of Boko Haram, the refusal of the international community to endorse the candidature of Goodluck Jonathan, and of course taking the bearing from where some of the Nigerians, so-called leaders, tried to ask Jonathan to serve only one term at that time. So you see, that's why I said the permutations and circumstances are entirely different. But now it's going to be a very smooth transition from Muhammadu Buhari, who served his second term in office, to a newly elected president of Nigeria, which by the will of God, we are expecting and we are going to ensure that President Atiku Abubakar steps in as the replacement of President Muhammadu Buhari.
All right. Thank you for your take on that. And President Buhari today signed into law the 2023 budget, even though the details are actually not out there, but nearly 20 trillion, right? Are you satisfied with it? And what are your expectations? Because this is election year, and the president hopefully is trying to actually accomplish so many things that he was unable to do in the last 7.5 years. What is your take on the budget?
Actually, as a former commissioner for economic planning and budget in the government of Kano State, and also a former advisor to the Minister of Finance, who is very well familiar with the fiscal document from the national level down to the subnational level, there is nothing quite very impressive as far as the document is concerned, because you see, sometimes the issue of revenue projection, where government projected revenue that it cannot be able to garner within the fiscal year, is quite very worrisome. So there is nothing, to my understanding, quite impressive as far as the budget is concerned. Rather, just maintaining the status quo of what has been happening from the time Muhammadu Buhari stepped in as president down the line. There was so much expectations from Nigerians when Muhammadu Buhari stepped in as president in 2015, bearing in mind, his antecedents as a military officer, as a governor, as a minister, and as head of state. So a lot of Nigerians expected more from Muhammadu Buhari. And for somebody, who has been battling to be president, but unfortunately, that expectation didn't materialize as far as Nigerian mind is concerned. Because what we are seeing today by APC government is quite disappointing. Not only talking from the opposition side of PDP, but I'm talking as an individual, as Yusuf. We are seeing quite a very disappointing Nigeria, where the presidency failed to accomplish a number of promises they made during the inauguration in 2015. So the budget I'm seeing, because I used to follow the budget of government, not only from Muhammadu Buhari's time, even from during Jonathan era, Obasanjo and co. But what I've seen from the budget amendment of 2015 down to 2016 up to today, I did not see something, so impressive, rather than maintaining the normal, or rather, let me use it, the normative ways of doing the budget.
But
so that is not honestly impressive for as far as I'm
concerned. Doctor, you said something significant, that the expectation on Buhari was extremely high because he vied for this office about 3 times before he got it. And it's like he has the same trajectory with your candidate Atiku Abubakar. How sure are we that when Atiku wins, he will make a difference?
That's exactly why I told you to this line, because I know the next question is going to be on this direction. You see, there are 2 distinct difference between Muhammadu Buhari as a person and Alhaji Atiku Abubakar.
Okay.
Muhammadu Buhari, as a former head of state, probably, to my understanding, refused to acclimatize the situation and update his diskette.
Okay.
While Atiku Abubakar, as an individual, keep updating his diskette. Because if you put Muhammadu Buhari on one side and put Atiku Abubakar on the other side and ask them, how do we reposition the economy of Nigeria? Listen to them. You will hear that Atiku Abubakar will give you facts and figures. Not only obsolete facts, he will give you the current and updated facts, not only from the government side, even from the international community side, from the World Bank, IMF, and co and co. Because you see, 2 things happened with Muhammadu Buhari. Okay. When he stepped in as president, all what he needs to do is to now reposition and change the diskette of 1983. Because Nigeria of 2015 at that time was not Nigeria of 1983 when he left office. At the same time, Atiku Abubakar, if you are talking to him now as a candidate, you will agree with me that Atiku Abubakar is talking to you as Atiku Abubakar of 2023, because he is talking the contemporary issues, the issues of today, not issues of yesterday. So that's why I'm saying this. If Atiku happens to be a Nigerian president, Nigeria will witness a president that is well conversant with the problem, a president that is well familiar with the situation, a president that is going to be the president for all Nigerians, irrespective of religion, tribe, ethnicity, and geographical location, because all of these things are mere things that God put us together as Nigerians. Whether you are Yoruba, Igbo, Ibibio, or what have we are all Nigerians. And we have to imbibe ourselves. We have to respect our opinion, our culture, our tradition. So that's why we call Atiku Abubakar as a real unifier.
We are joined in the studio by Bala Ibrahim. He is the Director of Publicity of the APC. And before then, he's actually a renowned writer, a journalist, and a social critic. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
We're happy having you. Compliments of the season.
So am I. Same compliments to you.
Good. Yes. You have had our tidbits. Maybe we'll start with that before the topic of the day. The first one is on looters relooting the looted via auction. We actually led one of our editions in the paper with plans by the EFCC. Of course, they auction hundreds of vehicles and they publicly advertise houses that they are going to auction, and they ask people to go for them through online application to go and buy them. But the House of Reps, they are expressing fears that though a noble idea, but there is likelihood that those who looted them might likely loot them again by buying the This is your party. Of course, the chairman was, appointed by President Muhammadu Buhari because of his pedigree, the EFCC chairman. I mean, what is your take? And how can they go about it so that the looters will not loot the looted?
Well, thank you very much. You see, the law, as they call it, they say is common sense, sensibly applied. Now, common sense would say that if one is accused of stealing, he has done wrong. He must not be allowed to commit the same wrong in whatever guise. If you are convicted of looting and what you looted was confiscated or seized, it must be kept, and you must be kept away from it, even it be forever. Because should you be allowed to retake it through whatever means, be it through proxies, through auction, or through whatever name they may call it, you see, that loot may be given the stamp of right, and you probably will continue to parade it as what you have rightly earned or owned. Yeah. So I agree with the House by saying stringent measures must be put in place to ensure that those from whom the assets were seized do not get it through the back door. And I expect EFCC would have put in place whatever it takes to make sure that those who looted this property are not allowed to retake it through whatever means.
Yeah, and people are really asking why EFCC, ICPC, and other agencies, because they have all started doing this, doing the auction directly, not involving auctioneers. And the auctioneers have kicked back, because when we did our story, they actually asked some questions why the EFCC is doing it. It doesn't have the speciality, so at the end of the day, it might make some mistakes while disposing these assets. Why do you think there is lack of trust from some of these government agencies to just do things themselves instead of allowing some of these auctioneers to do them?
You see, sometimes overcautiousness creates a problem. In trying to be too transparent in the way you do things, you end up exposing yourself naked. Yeah. Because you are conscious or afraid of what people will say about you. Yeah. Now, EFCC has been a victim of this assessment in the sense that as an anti-corruption agent, the agency found itself in the center of suspicion. So much so that its chairman recently, the last chairman or acting chairman, was embarrassed. You know, he was removed in a manner that is anything but clean. The way Amana Magu was removed from office makes the office unattractive, and it makes the agency uncomfortable in the sense that it will continue to be on the doorstep of suspicion.
Even though some people are saying he's actually a victim of political maneuver.
That is it now. Now, whether political or military or whatever, the Commodore style that was used to remove him leaves so much to be desired. So I think it's out of that fear and anxiety that the present management of the EFCC is trying to present itself in a cleaner than clean manner. That is why it's probably going into the direct auction as against the normal convention of going through auctioneers. But in itself, that is going to come with another question mark later. Nigeria being what it is a country that whatever you do, you can never get it right as long as you are talking about public accountability. No matter what you do, whatever the president is doing now to fight corruption, and everyone has given him applause for doing it well, he is still being challenged by some people as, okay, he is clinically clean, but the suspicion is that he's surrounded by dirty people. There is just no way you can come out clean when it comes to the assessment of Nigerians. No way.
Oh, well, we hope they get it right. Our second tribute actually touched your party. You know, we picked the story from the Daily Trust. It was an exclusive we did today that the chairman of your party, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, Senator Abubakar Kari from Borno, and Senator Nasiha from Zamfara, after leaving their seats in the Senate several months ago, those seats have not been filled. Where is the problem? Is it maybe from the party or from the Senate? Why those seats have not been filled? What is your take on that? As a private person, let me know.
Well, thank you. As a Nigerian, you see, we have to interrogate the electoral law or act as it is, in the sense that certain things are left to linger for too long. I would have expected that even if there are litigations surrounding the primaries that produce the candidates for the positions, these litigations would have been fast-tracked, such that the vacancy will be filled as quickly as possible. But you see, sometimes these litigations drag for too long. And because of that, the constituents suffer because of non-representation. So I expect the lawyers or those who construct the law to take into consideration this linger, why things stay too long. There should be a very short time limit.
Yeah, we actually quoted various sections of the Constitution on how to fill some of this. And based on our investigation, especially these 3 seats, they don't really have much litigation. Of course, your party has multiple litigations to fill some vacancies and all that. But this one, from our findings, that the Senate President did not even pass because he has to actually kickstart the process by informing INEC. And he didn't do it.
Yeah, that's
that
why
maybe your party is afraid maybe PDP will take over if this
you see,
or it's too close because some people are saying they don't want to spend money. Because we asked somebody who said that, look, these political parties, they don't even have money for them to now conduct election and then after 3 or 4 months to go for another round of election, it will be waste of resources. But the constituents are really complaining.
You see, these are seats in areas where the candidates and the party are as comfortable as the ward.
Sure?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There is no beating APC in Nasarawa State. There is no beating APC in Zamfara State. Neither can you beat APC in Borno State. Now, these are areas where the party does not lose sleep as to what competition has in the market. No way. The candidates of the APC, they can go to sleep with confidence that victory is fate accomplished.
Wow.
There is just no reason. I think the president, Senate President, has not declared the positions vacant, probably because of the leeway he has. If there was a provision that requires him to immediately or do so with speed, he would have done so. So these are some of the loopholes that ought to be looked into.
And as I said earlier, actually, it may be political money, but I remember when a member of House of Reps from Plateau State, representing just not a federal constituency, that it took many months. And because I have fair knowledge of what is happening there, well, at the end of the day, PRP has taken it. I don't know. Anyway, our last tidbit, Bala, is we spoke on the endorsement of Edwin Clark. It was actually the latest against the party of your candidate. Just the way President Obasanjo took the president and even your party to cleaners. Are we saying that maybe end of the road for the APC since these elder statesmen have, passed a vote of no confidence?
You see, I have a lot of respect for the 2 men.
Okay.
Former President Obasanjo and Chief Edwin Clark. But unfortunately, I must say these are spent forces.
Spent forces?
Spent forces. Obasanjo, in fact, should I contest, should I be on the ballot for any position, and Obasanjo announced endorsing me, I will rush to INEC and get my name delisted. Because I know it's a signpost of failure. Whoever gets the endorsement of Obasanjo, go and check history, has lost that election.
Welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. I'm your host, Hamza Idris. In this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy, and governance. And today, we will focus on the People's Democratic Party crisis in Kano and the legal battle by different factions. And we have in the studio Mohammed Jamu. He's actually a key member of the People's Democratic Party at the national and at the state level. He's also a member of the Integrity Group led by Governor of Rivers State, Weso Wike. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Hamza. Viewers, my greetings and a happy new year to each and every one of you.
Yes, I also supposed to say happy new year to you.
Thank you.
And it is election year.
Yes.
Thank you for joining the program.
Thank you so much.
Yes, we will take a short break, and when we return, the program commences. Don't go away. Welcome back. We have in the studio, as I said earlier, Mohamed Jamu, a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
We started the year with endorsement in court.
Yeah.
First was Obasanjo. He actually bombed some presidential candidates, including the candidate of your party, Atiku Abubakar.
Yeah.
He also ruled out the performance of President Muhammadu Buhari. And then for Adebanjo in Lagos, we also heard of Edwin Clark giving his own endorsement. Is it really normal, the endorsement at the beginning of the year? Maybe because it's the year of the election? What is your take?
Well, this is a year of the election, and things like this, and even going forward, I'm sure you will see more and more endorsements taking place. And it's part of the beauty of democracy for people to come out to exercise their constitutional given right to appreciate and endorse people they feel fit into their own thinking and ideology of what governance is all about.
Okay.
But just like I can tell you, is since the beginning of the democratic process last year in 2022, so many endorsements have been taking place, maybe at the grassroots level.
Okay.
You can see our party, we have been going out to various places across the country campaigning, and you can see the number of people coming out to endorse the political party and our candidate at various levels.
Okay.
So the coming of the big-time gurus like President Olusegun Obasanjo, Pa Adebanjo, and Edwin Clark is just spicing up the galore of endorsements, and I'm assuring you that you will see more people coming out to make this
But
endorsement.
do they carry weight? Let's take Obasanjo for instance.
Yeah.
He said Atiku is not the right person.
Yes.
You agree with him?
Well, President Olusegun Obasanjo is somebody that I can say to you is a man of so many colors.
Okay.
Last dispensation, 4 years ago, he was part of the people that came out to endorse Atiku Abubakar.
Yes.
And then this time around, he feels otherwise. But I will still leave it at the bedrock of him exercising his own constitutional right. Whether it is right or it is wrong, it is for Nigerians at the end of the day, at the polls, to determine what they feel and what they believe is the right way to go from 2023 upward. So I will just leave it at that. I don't want to dwell more about the quality of what Olusegun Obasanjo has said. But you know, Olusegun Obasanjo, right from 1979, when he left office, he has always been writing letters. So it depends on what side it depends on what side of the divide you belong to. If you belong to the side of the divide where he endorsed, you will be so happy that somebody of the caliber of Olusegun Obasanjo is doing such a thing. And if you don't belong to that side of the divide, you will feel bad about it. But you must salute the consistency of Olusegun Obasanjo.
Is he really consistent?
In writing his letters, not in his ideology.
Okay.
Consistency in writing the letters. How I wish all the leaders in Nigeria too will take that example, if not maybe writing a letter, but to always come out and air their own view on the happenings in the country.
But people feel that instead of writing letters, why can't he just meet with leaders? For instance, look at this cutting comment on the performance of President Buhari.
Yeah.
You know, he was really merciless in the way he penned his words to the president.
Yeah, the reason why I don't want to go against what he said in...
But is it true?
Some years back,
yes.
when President Goodluck Jonathan was in office,
yes.
Olusegun Obasanjo wrote a scat letter
yes.
against Goodluck Jonathan. And anybody who is a strong supporter of President Muhammadu Buhari was very happy that Olusegun Obasanjo has written such a letter. So if today Olusegun Obasanjo is writing a letter which is against President Muhammadu Buhari, so then the people from the side of President Muhammadu Buhari should not feel bad. But then it should be a time for them to reflect and look inward and see those things that President Olusegun Obasanjo wrote in the letters. Are they right or are they wrong? If they are right, then there is enough time for the president and his handlers to try and see with the remaining months they have in office to right some of those wrongs. And if President Olusegun Obasanjo is wrong, then let them come out with incontrovertible figures that will show to Nigeria.
I think Garba Shehu did in his response. I don't know whether they are true or not, but number one, he said Obasanjo is actually envious of the achievements of President Buhari. He cited the second Niger bridge, that Obasanjo, he led the port, but could not put a single block on it.
Yeah.
During his second term, he even went to Onitsha, and one of the monarchs, dressed him down, that he deceived them, during his first term. So they don't really trust him. It was really a terrible encounter. And he also said that Obasanjo, actually spoke out of frustration, not as a statesman. Is this or the other? I mean, maybe hitting him below the belt, or is just to respond and carry on?
Yeah, Mala Hamza, just like I said, it depends on what side of the divide you are looking at it from. President Olusegun Obasanjo, like him, hate him, he has his own good side and he has so much of his own negative sides. When he was in office as the president and as head of state in this Federal Republic of Nigeria, he has done some commendable things. When you look at in 1976 to 1979, the joint government of Murtala and what he continued after the death of Murtala, it was their government that began massive investment in all the power projects which we are still having up to today, and some of the petroleum investments like the refineries and things like that, which since after they left office, subsequent administration that came in did not do anything to add up from where Olusegun Obasanjo.
So it's not really correct to write him off.
Yeah, and then when Obasanjo came back in office, if not for the aborted third term, he has tried to bring in continuity of some of those projects, because I can remember Geregu, Omotosho, and so many other projects that has to do with power were reinvested, or rather he did much investment in infrastructure, even though a lot of people question the amount of money that was invested with no commensurate result. But at least there was an investment.
$16 billion.
Yes, but at least there was an investment, and it is for the government or for the civil society or for posterity one day to judge whether those $16 billion or whatever were spent rightly or wrongly.
They said he wanted third term. He was unable to get it in 2007, and indirectly he wants to get it via Mr. Peter Obi.
Well, I don't know the correlation or the connection between Peter Obi and Olusegun Obasanjo and his third term, because if there are other people that I feel Olusegun Obasanjo should have even looked for third term, he should have even looked for third term through his vice president, who was Atiku Abubakar that time.
But they said Atiku, he was self-assertive. So he will really not get third term via Atiku, and maybe this is the impression now. Atiku is a self-made man. Atiku, in terms of age, is advanced, in terms of experience. The same thing with Tinubu. These are people that Obasanjo cannot in any way control. But those who are alleging that he wants to use Peter Obi, said Peter Obi is a young man. He will easily listen. And he also said that in his letter, even though not saying that I'm looking for third term, but he said it's easier to now tell Peter Obi to do ABC and he will easily do that?
Yeah, I was shocked and surprised when I even read that portion of what President Olusegun Obasanjo said there. Because this time around, we are not looking for a president who will be remote controlled from Ottawa or from any part of the country. We are looking for a leader who is upright, who can stand his feet and be assertive and do what is right, because that is the kind of leader Nigeria needs. Nigeria does not want a leader who will be remote controlled from anywhere. We want a leader who from day one can kick the ball going and he can be able to do that which is right.
Yes, welcome back. We have Alhaji Farouk in the studio. He's a former Director General of the National Orientation Agency. You are a reservoir of knowledge of sort. I read somewhere, I think in 2021, when you said, if President Buhari did not tackle insecurity, it will be his legacy. I want to quote you the way you put it. I read it somewhere. Are you still on that pedestal, or you have changed your perception?
Has the security improved? If it has not improved, we still have another 5-6 months for him to make sure that, to make sure that security improves. It hasn't improved.
It hasn't?
It has not improved. To the best of
But how do you mean?
To the best of my knowledge. I mean, banditry still goes on, kidnappings go on, and we are not seeing, and the bandits are free to do what they want to do. So basically nothing has happened to change the, you might say it has reduced, but reduction is not what we are looking for.
What are we looking for?
Elimination. Let us have a peaceful and secure, free society. Basically.
But is there any country in the world that is actually free?
Is there any country in the world that is like the Nigerian case, where the bandit will even threaten the president with a kidnap? A bandit threatened the president, threatened our governor in Kaduna. They were going to kidnap him. Where in the world does that happen? Where else in the world has it ever happened? In America, some bandit will say it's kidnapping Biden. He will not live to finish the sentence. So
okay, the person who make that
claim. The person who make that claim. And the person is still on. They use their phones freely. They move freely. They sack places freely. Even campaigns now, you probably, in some states, you have to take permission from them.
Not from police or...
No, not from police. From the bandits. In some states of Nigeria, they say you can't come out on Monday. And it is law. And it's not government that tells you that. And it is because, and if they choose any day, they also choose, it can go. At one time, they say for 5 days, nobody should come out. And people didn't go out. What kind of, where security has it improved? I'm asking you.
Well, to me, because we have brought people from across the divide. Some will tell you that, of course, we no longer have the bombings the way we used to have, especially Northeast. Now, the bombings are not really there.
So that means security has improved?
Well, this
outside bombing, people have taken over. You see AK-47 is moving. All this is no longer light arms again. It's very solid warfare. Exactly. So
anti-aircraft missiles.
I want to ask, what's going on?
And where did we get it from?
Non-state actor will sit down somewhere and say, nobody should go out and everybody will not go, including governors. So where's the security?
Did we actually bargain for this in 2015?
Nobody bargains for such insecurity. It's just a lack of leadership as far as I'm concerned. Across the board. Particularly from the federal side. Because if you go to the states, they're handicapped. Of course, the governors there are they say, according to the books.
But they keep guzzling billions of naira, because when you look at their books at the end of the month, even though they don't even mention it, but you see.
Because look, I don't know what you mean by they're guzzling
billions of naira in terms of security. The governors who are actually pushing the blame to the federal government.
They are not pushing the blame. You have to be fair. Governors have their blame, no doubt about it.
Okay.
But not is in the area of security. Most of the governors here are the ones that indeed even fund security agencies.
In terms of
they are supposed to be the what's called a head of security
in their state. In name.
State. But it's only a name. Because you cannot command the army, neither can you direct the commissioner of police. They take instructions from the center. So the center has got to wake up to its responsibility. That's my take.
But why, even though you didn't say it, but most people take this to the table of the president. I don't know.
Because the president told us to vote for him, and if we do and he is in office, he will ensure security.
Yeah.
And he is the commander-in-chief. The president is not only president, but commander-in-chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces. So the buck must stop on his table.
You somehow supported him.
Say again?
You somehow supported him. It's like you had passion for him at the time, maybe because of his antecedents. Are you disappointed in what is happening?
No, what do you mean by support?
Let
me put it like this.
Right.
When President Buhari was in CPC, I wasn't in CPC. There was a time I was with Good Luck. Don't forget, I served under a PDP government.
Yeah.
So the issue of supporting him did not arise.
No, I'm talking about this nocturnal passion that maybe somebody has capacity to actually change the tide.
No, let me put it like this. You know, Buhari came through their various mergers with other parties, and including the PDP.
Yeah.
Those that left the PDP to join. And I was part of those included that left the PDP to join the APC. Because I believed rather.
And that is where I'm coming from, yeah.
I thought Good Luck did not honor his pledge, which is true. And I also thought he didn't perform creditably well. Particularly if you recall, you hear the Boko Haram, whatever, all that kind of thing. And I didn't like the language coming from the mouth of some operatives of the Good Luck administration. So, but then I also have the belief that this general will do all it takes to give us security. But then, you know, there is this Hausa saying,
say Allah.
Say Allah.
Is it that he did not recruit the right people? Because
I think one of the problems of Buhari, more than anything else, is his strength. His strength is that he doesn't, when he gives you an assignment, he allows you. But that allowing you is another weakness, because they are not doing what they are supposed to do. So therefore, there is no monitoring, there is no, no oversight. So everybody is just on his own, like a government.
Oh my God.
You understand? I mean, how can somebody steal in the government over 100 billion naira? How does it work?
Are you referring to the suspended accountant general?
And now, I'm talking about the accountant general. 100 and something billion naira. How did it happen? I mean, really, in Nigeria, what's going on? Now, it brings me back to the latest one we're hearing, the Gudaje exposure.
Yes, because it's one of the areas that we wanted to.
I really do not understand how this can happen.
But has it been established
No, but if there is already allegation, what we should be seeing now is all the arms of government charged with the responsibility of finding out the truth should be working, not fighting the Gudaje man. As a matter of fact, I'm even putting up a small team to support him.
Yes,
because he is doing it on our behalf. And I think that man deserves an award. And the president himself, according to the guy, according to Gudaje, Honorable, gave him the assignment. Meaning that the president, ab initio, had some inkling that something like this must be going wrong. And now they are finishing. And we are hearing, that's why the man has to go to town. He is a very patriotic Nigerian. And I hear people coming, putting groups together, doing, they don't remove the governor of Central Bank. That governor of Central Bank, in the beginning, I also commended him. As a matter of fact,
he did what?
When I saw the rice
pyramid
that and all that. Not the pyramid, but when they were growing the rice.
Okay.
When they were trying to grow the rice, I thought that was a good, what's it called?
Initiative.
Intervention and initiative. I wrote a personal letter, mine, Idi Farouk, to commend him. And indeed, even send him Professor Yunus's book, Banker to the Poor. And I thought he, at that point, was Nigeria's banker to the poor.
You change your mind now?
Oh, surely. Why won't
Why?
You can't hear what's going on. What? You can't hear what is going on. Excuse me.
Yes.
Simple question to ask. You have changed the currency. You got permission to change the currency.
And how did you fund it? The president
how did you fund it? Of course, if you meet the president, I want to do this, go ahead. It's your lot now to make sure that you get proper appropriation. You tell the president we don't have appropriation for it. Can we send it to the National Assembly to appropriate?
Must they get that to?
Oh, surely they must. How do you spend money? Is your money? The money you spend, how do you spend? Is it yours?
Sometimes you say overheads, when you see the budget of places.
When you hear overhead in a budget, it is budget for us overhead. It will be there.
And then you have miscellaneous because
it will also be the budget. It will be in the budget to say so, miscellaneous. But it will be in the budget. You will send it to the House. You will tell them how you want to spend it and how much you want them to appropriate. And in fact, even how you will get the money. Because you have money in your room, so you just decide you take it, and you want to buy a car, you just go and buy a car. Is your money?
But the dummy is sold to the president. Even though you are not an economist, but you have fair knowledge based on your pedigree.
I don't know whether it's a dummy. I don't know whether it's a dummy.
Because they said it will curb inflation, politicians will not have excess money, the monies, that they keep in their pits and all that will no longer be useful. Do you see that coming to pass?
First, when you made it, you say politicians don't have money to run their campaigns and things like that. What's your problem? If you say they won't have, that's why you are changing the currency. The election is only 2 days.
Yeah.
All the elections, only 2 days. One in February.
Yes.
For the president,
in March.
And the other in March. For 2 days election, you are doing what you are doing. Where is sense in that? It doesn't make sense at all.